Hey everybody, it's it's Michael B. I'm going to put that up close because it looks like my volume may be a little low. I'm going to turn it up a little higher. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. It's Michael B. Let's try it again. Happy Monday night, everybody. Sorry, I was slightly late. I was haggling with somebody about a pinball machine. You guys all know I'm on a quest to get a real pinball machine. Trying to get the best deal I possibly could, so I was slightly delayed, so I apologize about that. Anyways, guys, we should have a very fun show here on us tonight. Anyways, I'm planning to have a lot of fun, so thank you so much for joining me. Tonight, we're going to talk all about that surprise Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Countercade drop. That kind of came out of nowhere. No one was expecting that. We had seen these images of new Countercades at the Miami store with the Tempest and also with the Joust cabinet. And then out of nowhere, we get a Turtles cabinet that's one player in the form of the Joust cabinet coming directly to us through the website. Also, for some eagle-eyed viewers, there's been a big change to Arcade1Up's website today. We'll talk about that as well. And most importantly, the main topic of the show is we've got the TMNT surprise. Are we going to get any other surprises before the end of the year? Should we say that this is it and start making predictions on what Arcade1Up is going to release in 2023 already? Or is there still some fuel in the tank? Do they still have some more surprises in store with us that's going to hit retail before the holiday season? All right, guys, sit back, relax. Let's have some fun talking Arcade1Up, home arcade. We might even talk a little home arcade tonight, too, about AtGames and iArcade as well and what they're going to do in the fourth quarter of the year. Anyways, let's have fun. This is Chill and Chat with Michael B. Yeah, guys, so that's right. We've got a lot of show to get through tonight, a lot of show to talk about, and also, man, oh man, thank you so much for choosing me over Monday Night Raw's DX Reunion and Monday Night Football. You guys are awesome. I absolutely appreciate the support, and if this is your first time to the channel, you know what to do. Subscribe, click the bell for notification, and as Batman says, tell your friends about me. All right. Let's say hello to who's in the live chat. I saw Console Kits earlier. Let's go back and see everybody. We got 19K Fox who says, woohoo. 51 Pegasi Studios, what's up? Dan Z, of course, Dan's always here. You're the best, Dan. Rody 8105. I know I'm feeling a little bit better tonight. Weapon X, I feel like Mikey B is just a buddy from work on conference call every other day. That's awesome, Weapon X. I'm going to remember that one. Hope the surprise cabs are Afterburner, Double Dragon, Smash TV, Off-Road, Robotron, Akari Warriors, Heavy Barrel with rotary joysticks. I'm not asking for much. Well, Jason, I don't know about that. Biggie D, Ep Cyclone, Wild Builds, Retro Gaming Show, Happy Monday, Andy's Game Room, Scott Lee, Damian Deal With It, Joey Hansen, there it is, Console Kits, like I told you, Garage Gamer, what's happening? Garage Gamer got his second Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet today. One of them has online, he'll tell you all about it. Go check out his review he just released tonight. We've got Nick Gamble, Console Fanboy, I like this channel, I like you too, Zohar. Pete Mapano, I'm sorry, Pete, I'm probably saying this wrong. Pete Mapano, I'm sorry if I did. Hobby Hands, hope it's a good show. It's been a terrible day. Hobby Hands, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully this cheers you up a little bit, man. Ep Cyclone, Bish Salad. That TMNT is not bad, actually. 2 players started at $229. $169 is basically average discount price. Chris Langlois, 93. Sterling Hall. Sterling, I can always count on you to be here Monday nights. Thank you so much, brother. Endless One Up. What's going on? Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. Ezekiel, thank you again for our gifts in Chicago and getting to hang out with you, man. You were absolutely the best. Stephen Ramey. Nooner. Calling me Burry. Zero Hero. Nah, look at 19K Fox. There he is again. Mad Astra Gaming. T-Wait. JR. And who else we got here? Charlie Chuck. It's Holiday B. That's right. Today is actually Thanksgiving in Canada. We've had the day off, so thank you so much for joining me and spending your night here with me. Sean P says, Happy Thanksgiving as well. All right. So where is it here? MSU Rich, MG, Bobby Timpson, Rushmore, Peter Griffin, Electric Jums, Managing Chaos. Before we go any further, guys, I have to make sure I've got my right speaker on before this goes wackadoodle. But I want to show you guys something that Managing Chaos put in. If you haven't seen it already, Managing Chaos, everybody knows Chris, he's the best. He put in this amazing video for the Super Game Room Dudes Halloween Challenge. If you haven't seen it already, I'm going to get it up on the screen here now. And let me just bring it up and show you guys. You got to see it. We put a challenge out there that people dress up and impersonate the dudes for Halloween, and we'd have a costume contest. Anyways, I want to bring this up. So here is the video here. There should be no volume. If there is volume, I'm sorry. But anyways, this is Chris. There he was being D-Love. There he is being P-Dubs. You can tell by the goatee. The only time P-Dubs doesn't have a goatee is after he loses in Street Fighter. Look at that nostalgia outfit. That is absolute fire. Chris killed it with all his outfits here. They are so on the money. Look at that. He's even got my beanie from when everybody said I was copying RGT 85 and my big gray beard. I'm so old. Anyways, if you haven't seen it yet, go check out Chris's response video. He gets mad at me for having the mug, and then he even eats a banana as nostalgia. Chris, you are the absolute best, man. Thank you so very much for doing that. That was awesome. Press the wrong button. Look at that. Oh, Stringer Films. I know. Stringer Films with the super chat. $2 says, you should be in bed, young man. I think I'm getting over it at this point. I'm at the point, Stringer Films, where I'm starting to get better. My daughter, her fever's broke. Now she just have the spots from the hand, foot, and mouth, so she's even getting better too. Hopefully we'll be on the mend in the next couple days. But thank you very much for the super chat, brother. Anyways, I want to get back to the main topic, and let's talk about the Turtles in Time Cab first and foremost. So I just want to bring this up here. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, and I'm sure you have because you guys are watching home arcade content. So here is the Turtles in Time Countercade. Showed up on Arcade1Up.com. And let me just show you this before we say anything else. Did anybody else notice the change to Arcade1Up's website today? So the old website is gone. They seem to have a new interface for their website. Brand new website for Arcade1Up.com. So far, I find it harder to navigate. Of course, that's going to happen with any change. I don't know if it's stylistically better, aesthetically better, but they've got a new website, so you can go check it out. Maybe it's a little more functional, a little more modern. I like these rollovers to these pictures when you go over the cabs. That's a nice touch. So anyways, Arcade1Up has a new website. But the funny thing is, on their new website, I went to look up this item we're going to be talking about, and I went to games. And then in the weirdest grouping ever, I had to go to by form factor. Then they have full-size cabinets, which Arcade1Up's 3/4 cabs sure as hell not are full-size cabinets. But anyways, I went to tabletop where you would find the Countercade. And lo and behold, the Countercade I wanted to talk about, the Turtles in Time Countercade, wasn't there. I actually had to go to the search function, and that was the way I was able to bring it up. So, sorry guys, still dying. So anyways, Arcade1Up, still working out some kinks on their new website. A lot of web issues lately for Arcade1Up. But anyways, we've got this new Turtles in Time Countercade. The price here is Canadian, so it's coming up at $169. You're going to get Teenage Mutant, where's the games? Take Control in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Turtles in Time. So the same two games we normally get. The big kick here is the new form factor, much like that Joust one we saw at the Miami Retro Store. And we've also got the one-player control deck. And honestly, unless there's kids playing, who's going to be playing two-player on a Countercade? Maybe it's something you might have a buddy over to do just as a novelty. But I think what Arcade1Up have done here is they've admitted, hey, our product is actually for old-ass adults and not kids. So this is a cabinet made for an old-ass adult that would be comfortable playing a one-player game on this small Countercade. So there we go. So I just wanted to ask you guys if I can see this. How big is the screen? Oh, that's a good question, Zohar. Let me see. I don't even know features and specifications. There they are. That's a good question. It's the vibrant 8-inch screen, Zohar. So same size screen as the last wave. And those screens in those countercades, I've never seen one personally, but apparently they were very, 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 very good. And I also don't see coinless operations, so get your quarters ready. Oh, and there's an interesting comment right there from Selkby. One player beat 'em up cab is kind of sad, though. Maybe. People always say with these Arcade1Up cabinets that have very few games, especially beat 'em ups like The Simpsons and Turtles always had that stigmatism with it that basically once you beat Turtles, there's nothing else to do with it, and beat 'em ups are boring. Like me, I've always said I love beat 'em ups. I can absolutely turn off my brain and just run through it, and it's relaxation for me. In fact, after I finish the show tonight, I'm going to go down and play through one of my beat 'em up games, probably X-Men tonight, I think. X-Men or Turtles. We'll see what she says when I go down there. So, it's a good way to turn off, relax, and just relieve some stress, I find. Like, there's not a lot to it, but I always enjoy playing through the beat 'em ups over and over again. So, I get it. Some people, they're not going to enjoy it, but other people, they'll find. Console Fanboy says, at least they're listening. We did complain about countercades being too cramped. There you go. I agree as well. Gamer Price 40, no. They didn't come out with an MK40 cab yet. Not at all. I got the OG TMNT 1-Up cab. Never need another one. That's where I'm too as well. I will admit, I did have some FOMO with Turtles in Time and the ability to play other people online. But I've got the OG Turtles cab, and I've got the official Arcade1Up light-up marquee installed on it, so I'm really good. I won't swap that cab out unless I get a crazy deal on Turtles in Time. That's what she said. I know, Bish Salad. I know. As soon as I said it, I said, now I've got it. So anyways, guys, we got this surprise cab out of nowhere. And even though this is only a very small product, it's a $169 countercade, it started to get my mind going about what other potential cabinets Arcade1Up could release before the end of the year. Is there any more cabinets they could possibly come out with before this is all done? And I've made a bunch of videos on this, so I really shouldn't be making a new video doing it, but here we are. I want to go back and show you guys some of that content I made and explain what some of the cabinets are. I think the first one that we've got to talk about, and I didn't pull this video up, I feel stupid, but let's see if I can find it here. Dumb Mike. Hold on, I'll find it. Gotta go back one more, guys. Sorry about this. I'm usually so prepared. I am not usually so prepared. So let me just pull this up. I should have had this up earlier. I had everything else up except for this one. I'm very sorry. I know people are disappointed. They wanted that Joust countercade, and they also wanted that Tempest countercade, but we are not there. And let me just get there. Is this what we need? Man, my chicken, we need Beat 'em Up XL with the Avengers, X-Men, Simpsons. You'll never get that. You'll never get that, brother, and I wish we could as well, but they won't do multiple on one cabinet, unfortunately. That's the big problem there. They won't do multiple, so if we ever did get an XL cabinet, I assume that Turtles is probably going to be the first XL cabinet we're going to get, I think that Turtles XL cabinet will just be the standard, Turtles cabinet with the two Turtles game. We might get Cowabunga Collection on it as well, and we might even get Shredder's Revenge. No promises. That's the direction I think they're going in on that. I don't think we'll get XL cabs with all the Konami games, even though that would be amazing. I agree, Nick Gamble. Definitely need more XL cabs. What we really need is an XL Frogger. Oh, poor Frogger. You did Frogger so poor. But anyways, guys, this is what I wanted to bring up. So the first one that I think is the most probable for many reasons is, you guys know what it's going to be. It's going to be the Star Wars Arcade1Up cabinet. We've already seen a listing from Shop Hippo about a re-release for Star Wars. So the most probable cab we're going to see from Arcade1Up coming out again this year. It's not a new cab. It's another re-release. But we could see a Star Wars cabinet come out before the end of the year. I've done a video on this. The one that I would lean more towards is Console Kits did a video on this, and he pretty much confirmed that we are getting a Star Wars 3/4 scale release. I don't want to talk for Console Kits, but that's kind of the reaction everybody had, is that he led them to believe it's 100% happening. So we will see. There's a high probability that a Star Wars 3/4 scale re-release is coming this year. Of all the probable cabs, that one is in fact the most likely. So guys, let me know in the comments, would you be excited about seeing a 3/4 re-release of Star Wars from Arcade1Up as the last cab they do this year, or were you expecting more? Did you want to see something else? Did you think Arcade1Up should do more? I know Console Kits is in the comments right now saying, I didn't confirm that it was done. So I'm waiting to hear some feedback from you guys. If it's just Star Wars, Pete Mapano says Star Wars, yes. The Brick needs to bring us Canucks to Star Wars 1. I don't think they'll do a Star Wars Countercade. It'd be hard to put that yoke in there. After the release debacle of Blitz and MVC2, I don't think we hear anything from Arcade1Up till CES 2023. That's very possible. It's been a rough year. Star Wars XL or nothing. Pitbull, I agree with you. I 100% think they... I think they do need to do an XL Star Wars. I don't think we're going to get it just yet, though, but I do think it's coming. Console Kit says, you may talk for me, Mike. It's cool, bro. I'm sorry. I may be putting words in his mouth. Who knows? Marvel Partycade. Jeff Rainwater says, Mr. Home Arcade is my new favorite YouTuber. This was passed on to me earlier. CT Jason's doing some good work, it seems. At least Mr. Home Arcade has the exact same voice as CT Jason and same Jason mask, so it's funny. Won't happen if they cancel the printing, I guess. So the only downfall is it won't happen if they cancel the printing. I think they've done plenty this year. As long as the launch goes well, I'm down for a Star Wars. Arcade1Up should just start increasing cabinet sizes, XL, XXL, XLT, etc. See, Arcade D, you got to know that's not the pizza sizing goes like this. You get your large pizza, then you got your extra large pizza, then you got the jumbo. So we got to go with the jumbo next. CB says, did you see the crossplay sync issues? Yeah, I did. I don't know what's going on with that. I was talking to Console Kits and a couple other people earlier, and I'm sure they'll make videos on this, but what they think happened between Sheline and B is that there was a communication error where they thought both games were being played on the new cab. When one game was being played on the new cab, one game was playing on the old cab. I will say it's not uncommon with this peer-to-peer thing for these mistakes to happen. If you go back, we did a live gameplay session. It was myself, Ristalgia, Detroit Love, and then Keo Deakin came on the stream with us, and we played NBA Jam, and we were having massive desyncing issues right out of the gate. It seems like this stuff happens. Hopefully they can get it fixed very, very soon, especially with the cabs going out now. No family-size pizza. No family-size pizza, Bob Oif. I'm sorry. Extra large tall. I've never heard of that one in the pizza world. MK Legacy has issue as well. I haven't seen those issues, but like I have heard people say they don't like the online from MK Legacy. I think something's going on with the routers. Like, I mean, I play NBA Jam and I have a great experience. It's easy. But when I compare him to the new online that I have in some of the cabs like MK, it seems like MK has a harder time connecting and a harder time staying in-game. And I mean, Jesus, I can't even play through a full game on The Simpsons. Like, the way you have to play Simpsons online, like X-Men works perfectly. I turn on a game of X-Men and you just play. And then you're automatically online, and if someone wants to jump in, they can. And it works. But with Simpsons, I have to create a lobby, and the minute someone tries to jump in my game or something gets screwed up with my internet, like it loses a signal, I get booted out of Simpsons. So it's really, really frustrating. I mean, that was one of the key points of buying The Simpsons, was to play online with people. And ever since the first night I've had it, I haven't been able to play online with anybody in The Simpsons. It's a bit of a nightmare. Oh, okay, console kits. Here it is, guys. There's your official notice. I wasn't being sarcastic. Star Wars is confirmed, but remember, Pinball got delayed due to shipping container getting submerged in the ocean. So even 100% confirmed could be delayed. So we know at least one more surprise coming this year is, in fact, a Star Wars 3/4 scale re-release from Arcade1Up. I'm excited for people. A lot of people have wanted this, so good to see that that's actually going to happen. So, then on top of that, we've got Star Wars. But do we have anything else? I think the one that most people are super excited for and are really anxiously awaiting coming and have been waiting on all year is, in fact, Time Crisis. I mean, where the hell is Time Crisis? We all remember the GameFly leaks. Everything on those GameFly leaks were 100% accurate, but there's no Time Crisis. So I want to show you guys this now. Let me just pull this up. If I can freaking find it. Here we go. So just give me a second. Guys, I'm sorry. I should be a lot more prepared than this. But guys, we go back to these GameFly leaks from earlier this year. Here they are here. And Marvel vs. Capcom 2 we got. NFL Blitz we got. Everything was there. Then moving along, Arcade1Up, Arcade1 Joust Collectorcade. Am I missing anything? Turbo Legacy, which was the Yoga Flame, Shin Hadouken. And I think, there it is, Arcade1Up Time Crisis Arcade. So here was Time Crisis, and this is the one people were all excited about because we got Ridge Racer and Terminator 2 last year. They were late announcements. We were all expecting late announcements of a gun game and a shooting cab this year. And crickets. We've got nothing. There's no news. There's no gun game. There's no driving game coming out. And if the driving game's what I heard, it might be Fast and the Furious. Maybe I'm glad it didn't come out. But Time Crisis is one everybody really wanted. They were excited about this. Now, when the GameFly leaks came out, the price point on this said $7.99. So I was like, man, that's an expensive cabinet, $7.99 US. And I thought, there's no way that is freaking possible. So it has to be an XL cab. I've come to find out that the price that GameFly had and Time Crisis itself may be the only cabinet that was announced during these leaks that, for whatever reason, is inaccurate. It's not an XL cab, and it's not going to be $7.99. The price point is going to be different. I don't know exactly what the price point is, but it's going to be less than $7.99, and it is, in fact, a 3/4 scale cabinet. The next shooter is. I can't say for sure it's Time Crisis. It's Time Crisis. But we don't know if Time Crisis is going to be a cabinet this year or next year, but I still think Time Crisis is coming out. It's just, I don't know if it's going to be coming out this year. I know a lot of people were excited. It would be a huge, Christmas rush. The gun games for Arcade1Up always do well. That's a no-brainer. So I would think that it would make a lot of sense for them to do it. But I imagine there's a lot of moving parts. Time Crisis isn't just a gun game. You've also got a pedal, so it might be a little harder to put together. I don't really know what the answer is. But Time Crisis might not make it this year. Maybe not. I'll ask the people in the chat. And this is everybody's favorite part of the show, where I put up a poll and it's absolutely horrible. But will Arcade1Up and there we go. Will Arcade1Up release Time Crisis in 2022, or is this one going to be pushed back to a 2023 release? You guys be the judge. Charlie Chuck says, Time Crisis will hopefully be on the T2 cab soon. Hashtag mystery encoder. Operation Wolf is a year out at least. I've got to tell you guys, if Operation Wolf is coming to the iArcade, I got a feeling that Operation Wolf won't be coming to Arcade1Up. I don't think Taito and Arcade1Up work together anymore, because Arcade1Up typically likes to work with companies that just want to work with Arcade1Up. So interesting. Let's see. We've got 48 votes. Let me just track them here now to see how we're doing. And it's not surprising, 48 votes. And the majority of them are saying, no, we will not get a Time Crisis cab this year. Some ships somewhere are getting Morse code from that typewriter. Evan Stamps will get it with Track and Field. Track and Field's been canceled. I'm so sad about that. I was so excited for a Track and Field cabinet and good 80s arcade titles coming out. But apparently retailers were not interested in Track and Field. So even though I thought it was an amazing cabinet and something they should definitely do, retailers said no mas. So Track and Field is canceled, guys. Track and Field's not coming. I know there's a new Operation Wolf game coming to Switch. We've talked about that. That'd be really cool to see if iArcade can get Operation Wolf, the classic. If they could get the more modern one as well, that would be a huge boon for them. Hopefully they can do it. They've got too many Marvel vs. Capcom 2 left to crank out before they drop another new cabinet. What's funny about that is I don't think they're doing it, man. I think that we've got one production run. I don't know how many cabinets came over. Kev Gret, when I was on iArcadian, said there's 6,000 in the warehouse. I haven't been checking, but 6,000 in the warehouse. So if they made 6,000, I think 6,000 are going to be it. House of the Dead. If Arcade1Up's not looking at that for their next light gun cabinet, I would be very surprised. But it's hard, right? Because you're getting into, I don't know what the arcade emulation is on it, but you're getting into that Saturn level emulation for the first House of the Dead. I forget what it's called, Model 3 or whatever it is. And also on top of that, the original arcade code for House of the Dead is gone. They lost it, right? So it's a possibility they can't recreate it. They can't do the emulation. It's hard. That's all I'll say. Yeah, Chicken. I can't say your full name, Chicken, because I'm going to say it wrong. Next shooter game after Time Crisis is a big mystery. There's so many shooters to choose from. Lethal Enforcers, Areas 51, House of the Dead. Yeah, I agree. Koja Jangle says it's Model 2 emulation. There it is. I love Police Trainer and hope someone comes out with it. That would be interesting. Anyways, guys, we got 78 votes. And you guys have said 82% say Time Crisis will not be coming out in 2022. So you guys think Time Crisis is going to be a 2023 release? I think you guys are pretty accurate. I don't think we're going to get Time Crisis this year. It's going to probably be moving over to next year. Scott Lee says, what do you think about Atari Legacy Cab Walmart version? I'm not 100% sure if you mean the Tempest that was on sale this past week for $199. I wasn't really following it because I'm here in Canada and we didn't have the same sale. But I don't know if that one came with a light-up marquee and a riser. If it's the original Tempest with the light-up marquee and riser, that's a hell of a deal. If it's not that, $199 still doesn't seem like that great a value when those are only $299 cabs in the beginning. Biggie D's Arcade says MVC 2 is not a difficult game to emulate. Brooklyn Menace, thank you, Brooklyn Menace, for being here, brother. Gauntlet Legends cab. I'd be surprised if they do it. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure we'd see a Golden Axe re-release. Maybe some kind of Sega Legacy cab at some point. There we go. Oh, Tempest no riser. That's not that great a deal. Forget that. $199. If you keep your eye out, you can get especially now that the Centipede is out there, you should be able to get a good deal, maybe even secondhand on a Tempest cab. I wouldn't go nuts about the Tempest $199 Walmart deal. Cornercade is in the house. Yeah, Track and Field looks like it's a no-go. That's a problem with a lot of these. They're great ideas that they come up with, but it seems to be the way Arcade1Up's model work is they'll come up with a concept and then they try to sell it to retailers, and unless it has really good retailer support, it never gets made. So, we saw that with Double Dragon. Apparently, that was one that was sold to retailers, but they didn't have a lot of interest in it, I guess. And Track and Field was another one. So, yeah. David Deming, I'm right with you, hoping for more 80s games in the very near future. Swing Machine, what's happening? Oh, the Jurassic Park gun game? Yeah, that's a Sega game. That would be really cool. I would love that. Afterburner has to come eventually. It's a no-brainer. I think so. No, KI Pro is not canceled. We'll get there. We'll get there on that one. Yeah, that's Simpson Steel for $199 with the marquee, light-up marquee, and riser. That's a great deal. I mean, there you go. Well, Nick, there's no agreement there. That might actually be really happening, and that's why Nick is suggesting that. So, yeah, WrestleFest, but the problem with WrestleFest is, there's so many characters that'll be missing. It's a licensing nightmare, and if they did it, it would be very, very dissimilar to the game you once knew. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. If you're not, I mean, it is what it is. Hey, How to Bachelor, I am feeling a little bit better on the mend, almost there, so there we go. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. $2.22 super chat, brother. I appreciate it. Pitbull says, Pitbull on Pinball and Arcades. They are done making cabs for this year with 2 absolute debacles, 100% on the Blitz and Marvel vs. Capcom cabs. You might be right, Pitbull. You might be 100% right that after these 2, even if they weren't disasters, that might have been it anyways, because they were the 2 big AAA releases they had this year. What I find interesting before I move on to the next possibility, is I want to talk about how few arcades Arcade1Up put out this year, which is a stark difference between the last 2 years. I mean, over the pandemic, they really rose in popularity, and the last 2 years we saw multitudes of releases, just like 20 different 3/4 scale releases per year almost. It was crazy, but this past year has been relatively quiet. So if we go back to that Arcade1Up page, to the main page, I just want to show you how little has actually been released from Arcade1Up this past year. So we go back to this page, and then you'll see trending this week. You've got the 2 cabs that the fans are just absolutely tearing apart, Blitz and Marvel vs. Capcom, because they went out to the public and maybe not all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed, so they're not complete. So people are having a field day tearing them apart. They're not cabs that I was super interested in. More so Marvel vs. Capcom 2, because I love the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Just sold my X-Men vs. Street Fighter about the possibility of eventually getting this cab, but I'm not in a place right now where I can jump on it, because I'm saving up to get a pinball table, which I want to talk more about a little bit later. So we've got those, but if you look at all the releases from this past year, I mean, we've got these 2 cabs. These are the 2 big ones. And then we've got Mortal Kombat, Centipede, and then Pac-Mania, the Bandai Namco. Then you've got Yoga Flame and Miss Pac-Man. And, of course, you got your XL cabs, Dragon Lair and Golden Tee. The Junior cabs. And, yeah, guys, that's it. That's a very small lineup this year without a lot of new cabs. Like the Yoga Flame, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Mania, Centipede, and Mortal Kombat were all re-releases. They're the Evergreen Legacy brand. The Dragon's Lair, even though that's a new release, was a cabinet that came out, was announced in a previous year. NBA Jam is a re-release in a new form factor. Same with Golden Tee. Those are awesome. Wish the screens were better. The juniors we won't talk about. So really the only 2 new properties that Arcade1Up released this year were Blitz and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is a stark downsizing from previous years. So it's strange. Maybe they're focusing on a different business model, and instead of putting as much out there in the market, maybe they realize that people's homes are full and they don't have as much room to add arcades anymore. So maybe they're going a little bit more with select titles and trying to get more bang for their buck instead of just putting a bunch of titles out there. I don't know, but a very, very strange year in terms of the number of releases from Arcade1Up, with only 2 real new releases and just remakes and remodified versions of older cabs. So definitely a different direction for Arcade1Up to take than they have in the past. Sorry guys, just catching up with the count. I would love to see their sales figures. Ridge Racers and T2 have both been discounted several times. Maybe a Ridge Racer countercade using a spitter for a steering wheel. There we go. I'm glad they're not releasing as many cabs, don't have to spend as much money or finding more room. I mean, I'm going to be right honest with you here, man. Yeah, my quest for a pinball table, it's almost like Arcade1Up said, give the poor guy a break. He's spent like $30,000 on cabs this past couple of years. Let him save up for his pinball table. So thank you very much, Arcade1Up, for not coming out with going on that stuff. Vic Vicious has an interesting comment. I thought 1UP was focusing on quality over quantity moving forward. Maybe that's a soundbite that John D used, or somebody else that he talks to very often, and maybe that's it. But there's a question of value to people when you say quantity over quality. Like Blitz and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 come out, and sure, they're huge titles. Awesome. That's really cool for them to do, but they're not something that appeals to everybody. So if you don't have something to offer to the masses, if you're only offering more modern 90s games that don't appeal to the older generation that want classic arcade games, you're going to lose their interest. And offering re-releases of cabs that you've already done a bunch of times isn't going to catch that market. So I understand what you're saying, and I understand the statement, but I don't think it really necessarily hits a value point there. How to Bachelor, gotta run, need to hop in the hot tub and rest back. You lucky man, I need to rest everything. Thank you very much for the super chat, and thanks for stopping by tonight. I really appreciate it. Next year is 0 new cabs to 100% focus on quality on their new cabs. This is a guaranteed formula to not have any issues. Of course, he's trolling. L Captain, honestly, you might be surprised by this, but right now the plan's not to really get rid of anything because my pinball is going to go in the overflow space. The only thing I might have to get rid of, there might be 2 things, depending on room, is I may have to get rid of my Neo Geo MBSX, and I may have to get rid of my Pong pub table. That's where I'm that full right now. So if I get my pinball table, I think those are the 2 that would have to go. But I love both, and I think I'm a ways out still on my pinball table, which I'll talk about in a little while. Like, pinball is not something that's going to happen really quickly, unfortunately. MG makes an excellent point here. Maybe the reason they haven't made a bunch of new cabs this year is they're still trying to sell off the quantities of stock they had from previous years. It's a possibility. 100%. 100%. I have no idea myself. I agree with the statement Pitbull made earlier, and I would like to see everything in XL and Pro formats going forward. I'm personally, to tell you the truth, I understand people like the 3/4 scale, and I love the 3/4 scale for a long time. But once you get an XL cab and like you see the design and the makeup and everything, you're like, you know what? This is what Arcade1Up should have been all along. Sure, you're not going to go with the highest quality wood, the highest quality arcade buttons and sticks, but man, make it feel like an arcade cabinet. And these smaller cabinets do, but the XL cabs really do. So there's where I want to go. Zero Hero, I'll give you $10 for your MVSX Pong 5. Oh, come on, man. Oh, brother. Anyways, last but not least, I want to go back to the Miami store piece, and here's the other cabinet that I thought was a possibility. There were really 2 of them, and it was Double Dragon, and we saw that Tapper beer fridge, and I put Tapper in the comments because I honestly think Tapper might actually be the closest to really happening, and I'll explain why in a minute. But we've already heard that Double Dragon 2 cabinet, the IE concept made it out to retailers. Unfortunately, it looks like that was another one like Track and Field that got shot down, but they got further in the process. I mean, they had made a demo cab that made it in that Miami store. But the one that's super interesting is the Tapper cab, and here's why I think it's feasible. For any of you guys that actually watch follow the Facebook fan pages and shit like that, give me a second. I got to bring this up. I sent this to my wife earlier so I could bookmark it and save it. Now she's mad at me. She's like, I don't want to join this Arcade1Up group. So let me just bring this up on screen. So earlier today, You can see her message there. I do not want to join this group. Just so I can save the spot. But anyways, this was a post from Naz Rodriguez in the Arcade1Up and modding page. And what he had done is he had taken a old Mortal Kombat 2 Midway Legacy Edition cabinet, and he has modified it to a tapper cab. And I got to tell you, man, this thing looks absolutely beautiful. Like, I don't love the coin door, but that might actually be more accurate to the original tapper coin door. I'm not sure, but he put in these side pieces here for the bar. Look at the wood grain artwork, the beautiful marquee. I mean, this thing looks just amazing. So here's why I think tapper is more possible. The only problem with tapper is, look at these joysticks. Like, you wouldn't be able to go with the original bar tap joysticks for what I'm thinking. You would have to go with the bat tops. But reason I bring this up is because of the cabinets that Arcade1Up could do, if they wanted to do something classic and fun like this that we saw, the easiest transition for them is to do something like they did with the Joust cabinet and take an MK30 and modify it to look like a tapper cabinet. That seems to be the easiest one. You keep pretty much the same form factor, change up the art, and maybe do a couple extra things. I don't think you'd see the brass bar down here in the bottom, but maybe there's some way they could put these components on there. So maybe there's a chance we could see a Midway Legacy modified to a tapper cab. Now, get ready, guys, for the loudest keyboard in the business, because I'm going to ask you guys in the chat, do you think there's a possibility that Arcade1Up may surprise us with one more Midway Legacy reskin to a tapper cab? So, here it comes, guys. Loudest keyboard in the business. Loudest keyboard ever. Boom, there it is. Yeah, root beer tapper is actually and tapper are super expensive arcades. I was looking it up earlier, and it was about $4,000 and more for. Jeez Louise. Justin, why do you keep spamming me on private message? Anyways. So, yeah, it's an expensive cab. And that's why I always talk about Arcade1Up making these, is because where there is smoke, there's fire, Michael. There we go. Yeah, I know the button config for the MK games on it, but that's the thing. JJ says, sorry, Michael B, but I don't think it's something that a lot of people are really wanting. Wow. So you don't think that there is in a hobby around arcade collecting, you don't think there's a lot of people that would be interested in a classic and highly desired arcade cabinet? Oh, that's like, I think there's a possibility you're right that Arcade1Up is definitely more dedicated to casuals, not people with a ton of arcade knowledge. So you're 100% right on that. Like for me, tapper is like, you know, that was from day one. I remember when we were at Wave 3, I was on the Retro Buzz when John D was on with Nostalgia, yelling at John D, make a tapper with timber on it, make a tapper with timber on it. So, yeah. Joseph Ryan says, I want a tapper cab so bad. Tapper is cooler than a Joust cab. Not root beer tapper. Yeah, we all agree with that. We want Budweiser tapper if we want anything. I know, JJ. I know you're talking about tapper, but I do think there's a market for it. It goes back to the comment I made earlier about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and NFL Blitz. While there's definitely a segment that's really excited for that and it has mainstream appeal, there's other people who are just like, I want tapper. I want Sinister. I want Robotron. Pitbull says root beer is way more rare than tapper, FYI. I have no idea, Pitbull. Like me personally, I mean, obviously I'd want a root beer, but not a root beer. I'd want a Budweiser, but yeah, I get it. Tapper with timber. Yes, Console Kids knows. See, I don't really care about the beer fridge. to me, I think that's a mod that you can do yourself. You don't really need to do anything with that. So, all right, so let's check the poll, see how it's doing. We're at 2 minutes, 94 votes. 78% of people say no, Arcade1Up will not be doing a tapper this year. You guys are all negative. So do you guys think that nobody, 1UP Kyle, it's pretty much the same game. It's just they changed the art so all the Budweiser stuff comes out of it. I've got a buddy that's a Moosehead rep. And I actually helped him work out a deal with Arcade1Up. They did a giveaway for Moosehead beer with Arcade1Up this past year. So if they did a Canadian version, can you imagine a Moosehead tapper? I know you have those, Pitbull. I'm very jealous. I think I'm gonna have to break down, and if I ever want to get a Robotron, I'm gonna have to buy a real one. I don't know if we'll ever get a 3/4 scale version. Mini fridge would be cool if the cab was the Budweiser version. Yeah, maybe. Like me, and none of us want crappy old 80s games. You don't want crappy old 80s games. I only want crappy old 80s games. That's all I want. People want different things. There we go. Yeah, I expect yet another new Mortal Kombat before Tapper. That's pretty much guaranteed. I get it. So I'll end it there at that. So we got 4 minutes ago, 98 votes, 78% say, no, we're not getting a tapper before the end of the year. Well, guys, that's all that was rumored. The only other one that's a possibility that we may get before the end of this year is, in fact, the KI Pro. There's a possibility. What we're being told with KI Pro is it's not canceled. It's not up on the website anymore, but it is going to be a direct consumer. It's going to have a very, very small production run, maybe under 1,000 cabs, maybe as low as 500 cabs. So realistically, I think the only other possibility outside of the Star Wars we are getting, and maybe some surprise countercades, is in fact that Killer Instinct Pro. And I'll ask the question now. I'll put another poll up. Are you guys okay with that? Are you guys okay with the fact that Arcade1Up realistically only came out with 2 cabinets this year? Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and NFL Blitz. Are you happy with that? Do you think they're good cabinets? What do you think of the direction Arcade1Up is going in? Is this where you want to see the company going in? Quality over quantity is fine, but do you think the cabs they came out with are the quality that you're interested in? It's not that we think they won't get a tapper. It's that we don't think they will get it this year. Yeah, I agree with you. KI Pro will be pricey. Yeah, it's going to be $1,000, $1,000 US. So for us here, those of us here in Canada, yikes. Wait, what about Tron? No, Dig Dug didn't count. The horrible Dig Dug reskin. What was the other one? Joust reskin. None of those really counted. These are all reskin cabs. They're not new cabs. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Not okay with KI Pro being extremely limited unless I can get one. I think again, I've said this a bunch of times, it's the same reason track and field apparently got canceled, and why Double Dragon's not happening. They don't have retailer support for the Pro cabs. The Pro cabs are going to be direct to consumer. So they've got a risk portfolio that they have to meet, and the only way they're going to meet the risk portfolio on the Killer Instinct is to do a test with a low production run. Reskin cabs are not canon. I'm not saying they're not canon. It's just, does anybody care? Not really. I love my Joust. He says he loves his Joust. Joust reskin looks great. Yeah, listen, no offense. I'm not saying anything like that. I think the reskins are absolutely cool. But there's a reskinned Mortal Kombat that's reskinned as Defender. Do you really want that? Or do you want a Defender with proper controls? I mean, that Defender Partycade is the Catalina wine mixer. Like, if they told me next year's big 80s cab that they're going to do through direct-to-consumer was a proper Defender, I'd be like, sign me up. Day one, I'm buying Defender, 100%. Even though I've got Defender on my Midway Legacy Mortal Kombat cab, I'd rather play Defender right. I think the online issues will get worked out, so I'm good with availability first and patches later. Yeah, I think this is being blown out of proportion with the online. It sucks that the cabinets came out, without features working and stuff like that. I said it on a Chill and Chat a couple of weeks ago. This is normal for the video game industry. They always release stuff. The debate on is it normal for a $600 project to not have advertised features compared to a $60 product that doesn't have advertised features right away? I don't know, man. People are going to take pitchforks and run to the hill and blame things on other things. I don't know. I'm not going to defend Arcade1Up. That's up to you to decide if you're okay with the stuff, but realistically, the online features will get worked out. If the online features don't get worked out, it's not like they're not going to do them. Arcade1Up, I think, the problem with it is they do have a history of saying they're going to do patches for certain things, and then patches don't come out. Like the Pac-Man 40th anniversary cabinet that they came out with a couple of years ago, the wood grain one, they said, we're going to do a patch to fix that one for the Vaseline filter. It never came out. So there's already a track record and a proven history of not living up to what they said they were going to do. So now there's a concern that they've got these online cabinets out there. What if they can't get the online working? Is there a possibility they're not going to help people? I think they're going to get the online working. I think it's in their best interest to do it, because I think both of these products they just put out, NFL Blitz and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, are not one and done cabinets where it's just a cash grab. I think Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Blitz are going to be legacy products, evergreen products really for Arcade1Up. Obviously, we're going to see a pro Marvel vs. Capcom 2 at some point, and we're going to see an XL NFL Blitz at some point. So they're going to want to make sure the online's working, so it helps sell those products. So for everybody saying, oh, they're never going to get the online working, they will. The question is, if it's a hardware issue, are they willing to ship out new PCBs in order to get it working? And that may be what it comes down to. So we'll see what happens. Tempest Patch is MIA also. Yeah, so there is a history of them not doing it. On these, I think it's different. Those are production runs. It's like Dragon's Lair. They were complaining about, the audio sync issues, which, it's a real thing. But Arcade1Up, have to decide how much is it going to cost us to go back and do more software emulation and do a patch, compared to just biting the bullet and say, we screwed up, and just leave it. So I agree with you, Weapon X. It was in their best interest to get it right the first time. Should have got it right. And there's no excuse for it going out the way it did. I'm not going to defend them 100%. That was the best thing they did. No, I agree with you as well. Like, no offense here. I don't work for Arcade1Up. And not my job to defend them, but I think that realistically, like Simpsons, I said it on Super Game Room Dudes this weekend. If Simpsons had come out without Simpsons bowling on it and a message that said, we're still getting it figured out, we'll have it in a couple of weeks, I think they would have got the same response from people. People would have been pissed, but no one was pissed because Simpsons came out with everything across the finish line. So it sucks that they had to release two of these products, and I don't know why they had to release them before they were ready. I don't know what the reasoning is. I don't have any answer for that. But they did, and they need a beta testing group that actually gets to beta test. We've talked about this, Garage Gamer. It's like Twisted Chris got that beta test or test Killer Instinct cabinet the same time that the Killer Instinct cabinets hit the port. I mean, it was done. It was over at that point. If there were physical problems with the cabinet, they've already got the cabs produced and shipped over. They weren't going to fix anything. So, yeah, there's obviously a flaw in the system. Anyways, before I go, I did want to talk about some other stuff. What about the rest of the year for the other companies? And I know I've only got a couple of minutes left, but I do want to talk about this with you guys. Just like humans, glass babies. Everybody has problems. But so what we know from Act Games is they've started looking at releasing arcade packs. Hopefully they have some new stuff lined up. Maybe even some more exciting games. I don't know if that's going to be on ArcadeNet. Maybe it'll be on a combination of ArcadeNet and on the console itself. But, there's a possibility we might see some new games through Act Games. Now, most people don't care because you can bring everything with, bring your own game anyways, so it doesn't really matter, and then you've got the sauce. But I would like to see some new stuff coming through at games. The one thing we do know about before the end of the year is going to be more pinball tables coming out. We got the Dr. Seuss tables. Hopefully they can figure out a way to do a hop-on-pop table too for me. But they've got the Dr. Seuss tables, so that's interesting. And then on top of that, we've got iArcade. And I'm really interested to see what iArcade does. You should do more than 1 hour. We need more. It's not fair. I wish I could, Zohar. My wife's in court tomorrow. We're all still sick, and I've got to take care of 2 sick kids while she's in court. So, yeah. Anyways, moving forward for iArcade, it's going to be interesting to see what they do going into this quarter. We just saw games released from TAD Corporation, and we've heard all these rumors about bangers, sausages. Apparently they're releasing sausages, but huge titles coming to iArcade, really exciting titles, so hopefully we see some of those before the end of the year. I think the fourth quarter is going to be a pivotal moment for iArcade. Hopefully they can release some really good stuff before the end of the year. With Arcade1Up, I think what we've seen so far is what we're going to get. I think we're going to get a Star Wars 3/4 scale cabinet unless massive shipping issues happen, like Console Kit said. Get ready to order those, and maybe we'll see some more of these countercades filter in. And that means we can stop talking about 2022 and start talking about 2023 and what we expect to see next year. Like UAG's already said, WrestleFest is coming. Mark it down. And we'll see what else is going to be coming out next year in the 3/4 scale. Me personally, I'm looking forward to a shift to all XL and Pro cabinets. I'm no longer the 3/4 scale diva. Anyways, guys, I don't want to keep you too much longer than that. Did you say sausage? I did say sausage. And Pitbull, I'm glad you're still here because I did want to talk to you about something else. Just give me a minute to bring it up. So I actually reached out to somebody earlier about a cabinet, and let's see if I can open this up here. So I wanted to ask you about this. I'm going to ask you guys to stick with me for another minute, and I'll talk about my journey to buy a real pinball table. I'm actually starting to look at real arcade cabinets too, just because if I ever see anything that's available. I missed out on a Terminator 2 for $800 earlier this year, and I'm disgusted with myself, but anyways, I want to bring this up, guys, and I'm sorry. Stick with me for another minute. So this actually got posted in the local groups. So this is coming from actually a guy I've known for a long time. We were in business school together. Wreck-It Ralph Link. He has like 50 machines. He's like the biggest probably pinball and arcade collector here in Newfoundland. So he's got a Super Street Fighter 2 Big Blue. It's a different Big Blue with a different formation and marquee up there than some of the stuff I've seen. But he's got this machine listed for $2,000. I would be more interested in it, but if you take a closer look, it's got a wacky bezel. This is like a cardboard cutout around here. There is a CRT in it, and he's got it recapped, but it's also got a multi-JAMA board, a couple hundred games, so I don't think it has the original Super Street Fighter 2, the new Challengers board in it. So to me, I don't know if that's a good value, but that's not the big reason I asked here. The reason I asked for some help, and look, if you see to the side there, Conte Dinda says that looks decent. Tim Waite says pass. Charlie Chuck says eesh, ugly. Bard says hard pass. But here we go. If you look to the side here, past that, you'll notice a Demolition Man pinball machine, and he is actually interested in potentially selling his Demolition Man. He hasn't made up his mind yet, but it's just sitting in his kitchen. Doesn't know what he's going to do with it. I talked to him a little bit about it earlier, and he said he would have to replace the DMD, do a little bit touch up, and he's looking for around $5,000. So that's $5,000 Canadian. So I looked on Pinside, and if I go back here. Sorry, I should have had this ready, but I didn't 100% know we'd be talking about it. So there's Pinside, Demolition Man. This is where I go to do all my pricing and ideas on it. So it's a wide body, estimated value between $3,510 and $4,090. I went down and checked the median price, and it was around $3,800 US, which with with conversion works out to about $5,000. So, when he said $5,000, I was like, yeah, that sounds about normal. And then he starts telling me, he was like, well, current asking price is $5,100. There's $5,100 US. And I was like, no, it's not. Median value is around $3,800. He said, you never go by median value. You go by the most recent postings. So he said that the most recent posting was $5,198. That's what you do. So I was like, I don't know. And so if he still, by the time he has it ready, ask $5,000. And if I have the money at that time, Demolition Man Williams is something I'm looking at getting. Save your money, buy a new pinball game. Used ain't worth it. Such a good pin. I haven't played Demolition Man. I plan on trying to get it on my V pin later tonight and taking a look. See, $5,000 for a real pinball that's used and has some issues. That's like 10 times the price of Arcade1Up cabs. Yeah, see, this is where pinball bothers me a little bit, because this is a really good pin and it's really cool, but they don't go down in value, and like there's no consideration. If you had to do work on it and a new DMD, $3,500. Yeah, see, this is the struggle I'm having, because pinball collectors all say pinballs never go down in value; they maintain their value, and they're looking to charge top dollar. And I guess if I had a pinball to sell, I'd want to be in that market too. And this is no offense to like my buddy Ralph or anything like that. I don't understand it, but for me, what I don't understand is, I mean, why would you ever buy used unless you were in love with a specific game? Like, obviously, there's a guy here locally now. He just bought a Tales from the Crypt. He might eventually sell that. Tales from the Crypt is one of my most wanted pinball tables of all time. So, that's one I would consider paying full price on an old one too. But why would I pay $5,000, for a table that's used? I'm probably going to have to do work on, and they don't see that, there's a condition value. I don't understand the market yet. I don't fully understand it. They maintain their value if you can maintain them. Pitbull says, we definitely need to talk, Mikey. Yeah, I'd appreciate that, pinball. So anyways, this is one of the ones I'm looking at. I don't know. He basically reached out to me and said, if you're serious, I'll start getting it ready. So I've got to think about it. I'm going to play the virtual version and see what I think. But I mean, like, it's $5,000, and that's a lot less than Godzilla, but Godzilla's the mecca, best pinball I've ever played. So yeah, they do have a ton of upkeep. I've got a buddy here, Chris Kelly, who also runs a pinball company called Retro Amusements. He fixes it up. So yeah, and I do love the movie Chris Langlois. Demolition Man is one of my favorites. Be well, John Spartan. Be effed. I'm not going to swear. Anyways, new can drop in value until supplies drop up. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I just don't fully understand the pinball market yet. I'm going to talk to Conti about this too. Conti's really well knowledged in this, and I want to talk to pinball. I'm going to get some advice before I do this, but I'm really, really struggling with the challenge of buying a used one. There's lots of cool used out there, and you can get them a little cheaper, but they're still so high compared to what you're going to be paying for, a brand new table. So this is one I'm looking at. There's also a Tales from the Crypt. I missed out on the Williams Taxi. So yeah, there we go. Godzilla's the top of the top. And that's what I'm thinking right now. Like, for me, Godzilla's the best pinball I've ever played. And like, nothing's touched it. Everything else I play, I'm just like, oh, this is really good. Surprisingly, Pitbull, what I have as my number 2, I know a lot of people love Jurassic Park, but I fell in love with that Stranger Things table. I put Stranger Things in front of Jurassic Park, and then I also loved Attack from Mars. The only thing I'm really disappointed by, I ran across two Medieval Madness while we were out. One of them didn't work in the free play arcade, so yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm just keeping you for extra time here talking about my pinball ramblings. Thank you so much for allowing me to go through there. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you for being here for another Chillin' Chat. I'm going to go play through the X-Men now. You guys have a wonderful Monday night, and we'll see you, I'm sure, a lot more this week. We'll see you next Monday for the next Chillin' Chat with Michael B.